Imagine you are standing in front of a towering mountain where the peak is always covered in white clouds and thunder rumbles in the sky. The ancient Greeks believed that this was Olympus, the immortal home of the 12 supreme gods. They are not only legendary characters, but also represent power, emotions, and very human desires. From Zeus, the king of heaven and earth, to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, or Aphrodite, the charming goddess of love, each god has a fascinating story. In this video, we will step into the world of Greek mythology to explore the 12 most powerful gods of Olympus, learn about their personalities, powers, and the anecdotes that will forever be remembered by posterity. Come with me to the top of Olympus, where power, love, war, and wisdom blend into immortal legends.
Zeus, king of the gods. He rules the sky, thunder, law, and order. Symbols: lightning, eagle, throne. Character: decisive, powerful, but also ambitious and famous for his womanizing. In the Titanomachy, Zeus leads the young gods against his father Cronus for power. As a young man, Zeus escaped the fate of being swallowed by his father thanks to the trick of his mother, Rhea. She replaced him with a cloth-wrapped rock, and Zeus was raised secretly on the island of Crete. As an adult, Zeus returns to confront Cronus. He tricks his father into drinking a potion that spits out all his siblings: Hades, Poseidon, Hesta, Demeter, and Hera. Together, they start the Titanomachy, a 10-year war against the Titans. The fierce battle shook the universe. Mountains collapsed, the earth and sky turned red with fire. Zeus unleashed his thunderbolts, Poseidon made the seas roar, and Hades summoned the darkness of the underworld. In the end, the Titans were defeated and imprisoned in the abyss of Tartarus.
The image of Zeus appears in many Greek works of art, typically the statue of Zeus at Olympia, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Hera, queen of Olympus. Field: marriage, family, women. Symbols: peacock, crown, scepter. Character: strict, jealous, but also protects the sanctity of marriage. Hera punishes Zeus's lovers, especially Io, who was turned into a white cow. Hera was Zeus's legal wife, but their marriage is full of ups and downs. One of the famous stories is about Io. Zeus fell in love with Io, a beautiful priestess. To hide it from Hera, Zeus turned Io into a white cow. But Hera was not easily fooled. She accepted the cow as a gift and sent Argus, a giant with 100 eyes, to guard it. Zeus then sent Hermes. Hermes told stories, played music to put Argus to sleep, then killed him to free Io. When Hera found out, she was furious and ordered a gadfly to bite Io all the way, causing her to run around until she was freed. Hera was often worshipped by ancient Greek women during marriage ceremonies.
Poseidon, lord of the sea. Domain: sea, earthquakes, horses. Symbol: trident. Character: hot-tempered, easily angered, but also generous and patron of sailors. The dispute with Athena for the city of Athens. Poseidon created the first horse, but Athena won by giving him the olive tree. Poseidon always wanted to be worshipped by humans. One day, he and Athena fought for the right to be the patron of Athens. On the Acropolis hill, Poseidon stuck his trident into the ground. Salt water gushed out, and at the same time, the first horse appeared. The people were surprised, but still not satisfied. Athena stepped forward, giving them the olive tree, a symbol of peace, food, and oil. The people chose Athena's gift. Poseidon was angry and caused a storm, but Zeus intervened, recognizing Athens as belonging to Athena. The Greeks often prayed to Poseidon before sea voyages.
Athena, goddess of wisdom. Field, wisdom, strategy, crafts, patron of Athens. Symbols, owl, olive tree, armor. Character, intelligent, calm, fair. Athena was born from Zeus's head when he was in great pain, a symbolic image of wisdom exploding. Zeus once swallowed the goddess Metis, the goddess of wisdom, for fear of a prophecy that her child would overthrow him. However, Zeus then suffered a severe headache. Hephaestus was summoned, and he struck Zeus on the head with an axe. And from the crack, Athena burst forth, dressed in shining armor, holding a spear and shield, and shouting loudly. The Parthenon in Athens was built to honor Athena.
Apollo, god of light and art. Field, light, music, poetry, prophecy, medicine. Symbols, lyre, bow and arrow, sun. Character, romantic, versatile, but sometimes arrogant. The battle to kill the dragon Python to take over the Temple of Delphi, which became the most famous oracle center in Greece. As a young man, Apollo had to kill the monster Python at Delphi, a giant dragon that protected the oracle spring. He drew his bow and shot a golden arrow through the monster. After killing Python, Apollo took over the Temple of Delphi, which became the center of prophecy in Greece. The Pythian priests, under the influence of the sacred spring scent, gave mysterious oracles that were said to be delivered by Apollo.
Artemis, goddess of hunting. Field, hunting, moon, chastity, protector of young women. Symbols, bow and arrows, deer, crescent moon. Character, free, strong, protector of purity. Punish Actaeon, the hunter who accidentally saw her bathing, turned him into a deer for the hunting dogs to tear apart. Artemis loved freedom and hated being violated. One day, the hunter Actaeon got lost in the forest and accidentally saw Artemis bathing with her guardian goddess. Artemis was extremely angry. She raised her hand and turned Actaeon into a deer. His own hunting dogs immediately pounced on their master and tore him apart without realizing it.
Ares, god of war. Domain, war, violence. Symbols, spear, shield, helmet. Personality, aggressive, hot-tempered, unwise. Caught in adultery with Aphrodite, proof that he is more easily swayed by passion than reason. Ares is often seen as a symbol of brutal war. A famous story is that he committed adultery with Aphrodite, wife of Hephaestus. While they were making love, Hephaestus secretly placed an unbreakable golden net, tying them both to the bed. He then called all the Olympians to witness. The gods laughed at Ares, making a fool of him. This is proof that Ares has only brute strength, but lacks wisdom and is often despised.
Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. Field, love, beauty, desire. Symbols, shells, doves, roses. Character, charming, elegant, but also selfish. The birth from sea foam, a poetic image recreated by many artists, the most famous of which is Botticelli's The Birth of Venus. There are two legends about the birth of Aphrodite, but the most famous is that she was born from sea foam when Uranus was cut off by Cronus and thrown into the ocean. Aphrodite stepped ashore from a shell, her whole body glowing, making all the gods ecstatic. Later, she caused the Trojan War when she promised Paris, the Prince of Troy, the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen. Aphrodite is both an inspiration and the cause of love conflicts.
Hephaestus, god of blacksmiths, domain, fire, forging, crafts. Symbol, hammer, forge. Character, patient, creative, but despised because of his disability. Despite being cast from Olympus, Hephaestus still made weapons for the gods, including Zeus's Aegis shield. Hephaestus was cast from Olympus at a young age because Hera found him too ugly and deformed. He fell into the sea and was raised by sea nymphs. Despite being abandoned, Hephaestus became a master craftsman. He forged great weapons, the thunderbolt for Zeus, the armor of Achilles, the invincible Aegis shield. This story shows that despite being despised, talent and hard work still gave Hephaestus a place in Olympus.
Hermes, god of messengers. Field, travel, trade, theft, messenger. Symbol, caducus, winged sandals. Personality, clever, cunning, cheerful. As a child, Hermes stole Apollo's herd of cows and then cleverly made peace with them by playing the lyre. Even as an infant, Hermes showed his cunning. One morning, he sneaked out and stole Apollo's herd of cows. To hide, Hermes tied shoes to the cows to make them go in the opposite direction, making it impossible for Apollo to track him. When Apollo discovered it, Zeus stepped in to deal with it, but instead of punishing him, Hermes used the lyre he made to give to Apollo. Apollo was touched, forgave him, and from then on, the two became friends. The story shows Hermes' cleverness and cunning, which made him trusted as a messenger.
Demeter, goddess of agriculture. Field, agriculture, harvest, fertility. Symbols, wheat. Cornucopia. Character, gentle, maternal. The tragedy. Persephone, Demeter's daughter, was taken to the underworld by Hades, creating the cycle of the 4 seasons. Demeter's daughter, Persephone, was taken to the underworld as his wife by Hades. Heartbroken, Demeter left the fields to wither and the crops to die. Zeus was forced to intervene. A deal was made. Persephone would stay in the underworld for 1/5, and the rest would return to her mother. When Persephone returned to Earth, Demeter was happy, and spring blossomed again. But when she returned to Hades, the cold winter began. The story explains the cycle of the 4 seasons and the sacred bond between mother and child.
Dionysus, god of wine and the arts. Field, wine, festivals, drama, sacred madness. Symbols, grapes, wine glasses, ivy wreaths. Character, free-spirited, artistically inspired, but sometimes out of control. Dionysus brought wine to mankind and was celebrated in theatrical festivals in Athens, the forerunner of European theater. Dionysus was a young god loved by mankind. One of the impressive stories is that he was kidnapped by pirates. They did not know he was a god and intended to sell him into slavery. But when the ship set sail, bunches of grapes grew from the mast. Music resounded, and Dionysus transformed into a lion. The pirates panicked and jumped into the sea and turned into dolphins. This is a testament to Dionysus's freedom, wildness, and power.
The 12 Olympians are not only symbols of power and beauty in Greek mythology. They reflect the aspirations, fears, and beliefs of ancient people. Each god, with his own personality and story, has become an endless source of inspiration for Western art, literature, and philosophy. To this day, when we talk about wisdom, we think of Athena. When we talk about love, we think of Aphrodite. And when we imagine the power of nature, we cannot forget Poseidon or Zeus. If you love Greek mythology, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos, because the ancient world still has countless legends waiting for us to discover.